Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Today I'm going to be creating 2 gingerbread house cards using our new Gingerbread House Add-on die set. This coordinates with our storefront pop-up die. I'm also going to use these small snowflakes from the Snowflake Spinner die set from last year's Christmas release. I'm also going to use the storefront mechanism to allow my gingerbread houses to pop right out of the envelope. And then of course I'm going to use the A7 storefront pop-up. I'm just going to use the roof, the main base, and the connector for the roof from that original set. So you can see I went ahead and already cut those pieces. I cut 1 roof and 2 bases from a heavyweight craft cardstock. I am going to go around the edges of all of my base pieces with my Vintage Photo Distress ink, just so that it looks more like a baked cookie, because it is going to be a gingerbread house. So I thought that was going to be a nice touch. So I'm going around the edges of the roof. I'm actually going to fold this roof in half. So I'm going to follow the score line that's on the die and then go over the top of the roof on both sides with the Vintage Photo. And then I will do the same thing to the base pieces. So like I said, I just cut the roof and 2 bases and 1 roof connector from the original storefront die set. I am going to decorate my houses completely with the Gingerbread House Add-on. So I'm not going to pull in any other dies from the original storefront set other than the base pieces. So I am creating 2 gingerbread houses today. My first one's going to be more traditional with gumdrops. It's going to be really colorful and cute. And then my second one is more simple and elegant. I love how both of them turned out, and I really enjoyed creating these. There is also a toy shop add-on that we brought out in the last release that I will do a video on very soon. The die cuts that I'm working on right now are gumdrops and gumballs. I cut them all from glitter cardstock in blue, pink, green, and red. Right now I'm paper piecing the spearmints that I'm going to add to the roof of my gingerbread. I cut the little triangle pieces that layer on top of the white mint from red glitter cardstock. So I'm going to create traditional red mints for the top. And then the rest, these are all little gumdrops. I'm adding little snow caps to the tops of them. This set does include a lot of tiny candy and small detail pieces, but you don't have to use all of them. So that's why I wanted to create my second card that I'm going to show you, where I use a lot less. I don't add quite as many details, but I did want to show you that you can create adorable gingerbreads with these gumdrops and gumballs. So I do keep all of my small die cuts in little trays or little bowls. You'll see them throughout the video, and they're right over there on the right actually. Those just help me keep track of all the small pieces and helps me stay organized. Now I'm paper piecing the little cookies that are included in the die set. There's a Christmas tree cookie and then a gingerbread man. I'm going to go around the cookie part with my Vintage Photo just to add that baked cookie look. And then the frosting I just cut from white glitter cardstock. And I'm just going to paper piece those 2 on top of each other. And I am going to add some sprinkles to the Christmas tree cookie. And then of course I will give the gingerbread men some faces. All of those pieces are included in the die set. So you really have everything you need to create a gingerbread house. And one of the design team members created a flat gingerbread house. So she actually just freehand cut her own house for her card, and she used the add-on to decorate it. So you don't have to just use it on the storefront. I will link to her blog so you can see what that looks like. So I am paper piecing and die cutting everything for 2 cards. So you're going to see me work on these die cuts for both cards. You can see those are the tiny little pieces for the face of the gingerbread man. So I have those in their own little bowl. I got them at Walmart. They're really cheap. I think they were like $3, and I like to use them for my embellishments, but for these tiny die cuts, they're very helpful. And I'm only going to paper piece one gingerbread's face. The other two I thought would be cute with Google eyes. So this one that I am adding the face to with the die cuts, I'm going to use that one for my more elegant craft and white gingerbread house. And then these two, I'm going to add the Google eyes. You know I love Google eyes on my cards. They're just so fun. So for these two, I'm going to make them a boy and girl gingerbread. So for the girl, I'm going to add the bow to her hair or to the top of her head. And then for the boy, I'm giving him a bow tie. And again, I cut most of my little pieces from glitter cardstock. It just adds the look of sugar for the candy, which I like. And then, of course, it's a Christmas card, so I feel like sparkle doesn't hurt at all. Now I'm going to work on the Christmas tree cookies, and I used some pearls and some snowflake embellishments to make these look like sprinkles on the cookie. I love how this turned out. For the white and craft gingerbread house, I am using white pearls and the white snowflakes. And then for the colorful gingerbread house, I'm going to add the little tiny gumballs that die cut from the die set and use those as ornaments. I will also use these small gumballs to go around one of the windows on my card. And I like to do all this prep work before I start creating the cards, because then all of these little pieces are finished and all I have to do is glue them onto my card. I thought about adding the white snowflakes to this cookie, but I ended up just liking the colorful ornaments. So I opted not to use the clay snowflakes, but I will use them on my second card as embellishments, and they're so cute. All right, so now I'm going to work on the candy canes, and the set includes a long candy cane that kind of looks like a pole or a column. That would be super cute on either side of the front door, but for my card, I'm going to use them as like windowsills. So I cut the base pole from white cardstock, and I'm paper piecing the small stripes from red glitter cardstock. So I have two of those, and then I have my candy canes. They are going in opposite directions. So I decided to cut the candy canes once from white and once from red glitter cardstock. There is a die included that just cuts out the little pieces, but I decided to just cut my candy cane so that I knew exactly where everything went. As you can see, there are a lot of small pieces, and if you're someone that likes to paper piece, I think you'll really enjoy this set. And personally, it's my favorite card making technique, and I love the tiny details. To me, they completely transform a card, and it's so worth the time. All right, so now I'm working on the little window ledges. These can also be steps for your door. So on my first card, I'll use it as a step. On my second card, I'll use it as a window ledge. So I'm paper piecing the snow on top of the ledge here. I have a total of 6. I think I only used 4 for my cards today, but I always tend to die cut more than I think I need, just so that I have plenty to choose from when I start building my cards. All right, so here are those leftover gumballs. I decided to decorate this window frame with those, and then that window is gonna go right in the center. And then for my second card, instead of using the gumballs, I'm going to use the pearls. And I'm gonna add a pearl to every other dot on the scallop window. And again, this kind of just looks like sprinkles. This is definitely optional. And like I said, I love all the details. And especially with my second card, that's a little more simple. I think these pearls really added a lot to the final card. All right, so I did the second window the exact same off camera. Now I have this larger window. I'm going to add the yellow shadow layer behind it so that it looks like it's glowing from inside. And that shadow can also be used to cut through the base. So if you want to see inside your gingerbread houses, you can use that die and still add the window on top of it so that you can maybe add your gingerbread inside the house as opposed to keeping it completely closed. So I have quite a few videos where I show that. For my video today, I created 2 closed gingerbread houses so that I could add my mechanism inside of both of them. So now I am layering up my bakery that's included in the add-on. I die cut it twice from white cardstock and once from green glitter, just so that I could add a bit of dimension to it. And I did just last week teach a gingerbread house add-on class in Orlando at a little craft store called Bow Q Creations. So if you're in the Orlando area or if you're traveling, definitely check out that craft store. I think it's the only one in the Orlando area. And it was so fun to meet you guys and be able to teach a pop-up class. I definitely want to continue teaching in-person classes, and I'm looking into maybe doing the Scrapbook Expo in Orlando next year and also Stamp Fest. So if you're a Floridian, definitely let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, and if I were to teach a class at either of those, what you would prefer to be taught. Would you want to see a storefront pop-up class or a vase class or maybe a lantern pop-up class? Just let me know. I definitely want to continue teaching pop-ups just because that's kind of what I'm known for, but I am curious to know what you guys would like to be taught in terms of what kind of pop-up card. All right, so you can see I went ahead and moved on to my roof. I added the snow cap to the top on both sides, and now I'm adding the frosting. I'm going horizontally. For my next card, I will glue these vertically to get a different look. There are 2 little frosting swirls. I'm going to use both of them and offset them on each side. You don't have to do both, but I decided to do both. And I did die cut all of those, the frosting and the snow, from white glitter cardstock. And now I'm just going to add my bakery to the center of the snow cap. And then on each side, I will add my spearmints. And then we're pretty much on to the fun part where we decorate the whole base. On the scallop edge of the roof, I'm going to add my gumballs, just offsetting the 3 colors that I chose. And I pretty much used all of the gumballs. I did have a couple gumdrops left. All right, so I will do the other side as well. And then we can work on the first base piece. And this one's going to have my door. And I decided it would be really cute to have a sentiment behind the door so that when you open it, you'll see "Let It Snow" from inside. So I'm going to do that for both of my cards. I'm going to white heat emboss the sentiment. This one is from the new English Winter Village stamp set, and it fit perfectly behind the door. So on my first card, I stamped it onto the rectangle part of the base, and then for my second card, I thought it'd be cute to put the door on the smaller portion of the base with the point. And then I'm also going to have this white piece that's going to go on the back of my card so that I can write a custom message. I am going to go around the edges of it with my brown blender brush, just with whatever ink is left on it. Then I'm just going to add glue to the hinge on the door. I'm not going to glue the door completely down because obviously you want to open it so that you can read the sentiment inside. I'm also going to glue the step below the door, and I made sure that the top right corner of it wasn't completely glued down. That way I can tuck my door into it and that will keep it flat. Then on either side of the door, I added my candy canes. On the top right, I added one of my scalloped windows, and I am making sure not to glue anything too high up because my roof, my scalloped roof, is going to overhang slightly. So I am gluing most of my elements on the lower 2/3 of the card. And then along the entire edge of this gingerbread house, I'm going to have my gumdrops. So I'm just tucking those in between all of the decorative pieces. You can see I added my gingerbread girl over to the right side of my candy cane. And then I will have the gingerbread boy on the opposite side. There's even this small swirl that kind of looks like a frosting decor piece. I added that to the top of the door. And then on the sides, I'm going to have the candy cane pole that's going to look like my window ledge for this larger window. And then I'm going to add my lollipops and a few more gumdrops. So this card ended up being super colorful. I love the glittery accents. And I did use every single die that's included in the set on this card. My second card, I don't use quite as many details, but I did want to show you that you can use every single piece to create a really cute gingerbread house. All right, so for my other base, I'm going to glue my white rectangle that I ink blended the edges on. And then on the right side, I'm going to add my cookie tree, and on the left side I will add my gingerbread man. And then there's still some area to write a small message. I will add some more gumdrops along the bottom edge. And then I'm going to decorate the left side the exact same way I did on the other panel, with the large window at the top, the candy cane ledge, the lollipop, and the gumdrops. And I do enjoy decorating these cards while it's still flat. So pretty much everything is done. All we have to do is assemble the pop-up and attach the roof to the base. All right, so I have both of my panels completed. I did add double-sided tape to each of the 1/2-inch tabs on the right side. And I'm going to start by creating one long strip by attaching one tab to the opposite panel. And then I will fold all the score lines and then meet each end together that way to create this box. And then we're going to add the roof connector. So here's the connector piece. I die cut it from heavyweight craft cardstock again. This die is included in the original storefront set. I reinforced the score lines and I made sure to fold one triangle away from myself and one triangle towards myself. You can see that there. It doesn't matter which one is which as long as they're facing opposite directions. And then on those triangles, I'm going to add my double-sided tape. And then the points on these triangles are going to line up with the points on the pitch of the card base. So you can line this piece up inside the base. So I am using strong double-sided tape here. And then I will just line those triangles up with the sides on the base, lining up those 2 points. I am again going to add some glue just so that I can shift this around if I need to. This tape is super strong, so adding the glue allows a little bit of wiggle room. And then you can see that there's a 1/2-inch tab at the top. That is how we're going to add our roof. So I'm going to add double-sided tape to that, and then also glue. And then I will tip this whole base backwards or upside down. So, and line it up with the score line that's in the center of my roof with the score line that's on this tab. You are going to want to make sure that the bakery sign is facing the front of the card. So here you can see I'm checking for that. I'll flatten this out, line up those 2 score lines, and attach that tab right up against the score line. I am also making sure that it's nice and centered. So doing this upside down for me is the easiest way to do this. And then that's it. That is the entire card. I am going to fold it down, reinforce all the score lines. That's going to ensure that your roof lays flat. And isn't this adorable? I'm just going to spin it so that you can see how it looks all the way around. Okay, so now I'm going to create the mechanism to add to the bottom of this card, and that's going to allow it to pop right out of the envelope. You can see I cut the mechanism from heavyweight white cardstock. You get these two pieces, they're the exact same. I'm going to add my double-sided tape to each of the 1/2-inch tabs on either side. There's also a score line that's in the middle. So what you're gonna do is fold in the two tabs and then pinch the center one so that you get that M shape. You're gonna want your glue tabs to face the left and right. You don't want them to face each other. So here I'm gonna show you the fold again. You just fold in the tabs and then pinch the middle, and that creates the M shape. And then you're gonna take a rubber band and feed it through those slits that are cut in the die. And then make sure those tabs are facing away from each other. You're gonna add the other side of the rubber band to the other mechanism. And then it's gonna pop into place. There's a little circle cut at the bottom that allows it to lock. And then you'll remove your double-sided tape from those tabs. And then these will line up at the bottom corners of your storefront cards. So I'm just gonna pinch it back together. I'm gonna line up my first one with the rubber band facing up, and I'm just gonna attach it a little bit above the bottom corner, because when this folds flat, it does fold down a little bit, so just glue it a little bit above, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and then glue the other mechanism in the exact opposite corner. You can see that my rubber band is flipped inside. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't really matter. It's just gonna be a little bit tighter if there's an X in there like mine is. And then as you can see, when you fold the card flat and then let go of it, it just pops right into place. I absolutely love this mechanism, and it works with a lot of our pop-up die sets. So I am going to pull in an envelope so that you can see that these cards can be mailed. I would suggest double postage for these, but I most importantly want to show you how this card works with the mechanism. As soon as your recipient takes it out of the envelope, it just pops into place. It is so fun. And then here you can see the door opens to reveal the sentiment. So this is a very interactive card, and I think it turned out absolutely adorable. So now we're gonna move on to the more simple version of this. And I actually like this one even more. I didn't think that I would, just because I wanted to show you a more simplistic version of this, but I love the elegance and simplicity of it. It's still pretty detailed, but I just like the two monochromatic colors on this card. So I'm starting out with the frosting strips again for the roof. This time I'm going to glue them vertically. So instead of folding them in half where that score line is, I decided to chop them in half and glue them on each side of the roof. And I cut all of these from the same white glitter cardstock. You get 2 of these decorative strips in the set, so you only need to cut each one 5 times to go across this entire roof. I got this idea from a guest designer, Heather Rue, made a really cute gingerbread house with the vertical stripes, and as the designer of the set, I imagined them to go horizontally. So when I saw hers, I was like, oh, I have to try that. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna glue all the strips. I won't show you the entire process, I don't think. I think this is the last row, and then I'm gonna skip forward a bit. And let me know what video you'd like to see next. I'm gonna work on the card kit for my next video, and then I'll probably do the toy shop add-on, and then I'll do a couple flat card designs for my holiday card series. So this is day 3 of the series. It's going pretty slow just because I keep putting multiple cards in one video, which is not normally what I plan, but once I start creating, I get more ideas. So instead of doing gumdrops on the scalloped edge of this roof, I'm going to use those clay snowflakes. These are our Snowflake Flurries embellishment mix, and I'm going to use these to decorate the roof and all of my base pieces, and they turn out so cute. So I will have those linked down below. My little cats decided to join me for the very small part where they could easily just lose all these pieces, though they come at the greatest of times, don't they? All right, so now I'm going to work on the base And I wanted to add snow to the bottom of this one, so I just freehand cut a snow hill from the white glitter cardstock. And I'm going to do each panel individually just because I wasn't sure what I'm going to put on each of them, and I knew that the front was going to have my door, so I didn't want my snow to go below my door. So I'm going to glue that first. Again, I'm just adding art glitter glue to the hinge so that you can see the Let It Snow from inside when the door is open. And then around that, on each side of the door, I will add my snow. I am going to add my scalloped windows to the top of this. And I thought it would just be fun and different to have the door on this side as opposed to the longer side. And I think if you're doing like a village as a home decor element for your decorating this year, it could be fun to have some houses with the doors on the long side and some on the more pointed side. And here I'm just kind of laying out what I want the longer side to look like. And I also have those silver die cut snowflakes. Remember at the beginning of this video, I showed the snowflake spinner add-on from last year. I used those small snowflakes. I die cut them from silver cardstock, and I'm just going to use those to fill in some of the empty areas on this house. And I'm also, again, going to use those clay snowflakes as embellishments. So on the long part, I'm going to add my other scalloped window with the pearl accents, and then this larger size window. And I did not add the shadows just because on a real gingerbread house, you wouldn't have a different color for the windows. So I kept the craft showing through, and I think that's part of the reason I really like it. I like the monochromatic color scheme here. So again, I'm going to add a single silver snowflake to this side and then a couple clay embellishments. And then I did add a little snowy ledge to each of the windows. And then on the other side, again, I'm going to add my snow to the bottom. I'm just going to work on this long piece first. And then I'm going to add another large window and then the cookie tree to this side. And I do have close-up pictures of this cookie. I think that's my favorite part of both of the cards. I love the little pearl accents and the snowflakes on those because they look like real sugar cookies with the edible embellishments, I guess. I will also add a couple more snowflakes. That window ledge was meant for the scalloped window, not necessarily this longer one. So I added a snowflake to the left side so that it looked like it was a longer windowsill than it really was. And then again, I'll add a couple of the clay snowflakes. And then on the left side, I'm going to add my white panel where you can add your handwritten message. So here I have a white piece. I'm going to have to cut the triangle from the roof. So I'm just tracing that on the back side of it. And then just using my scissors, I will cut that down so that it will line up and match the roof line. And then I'll just use the last of my snowflakes, and then I'll add a little bit of snow at the bottom. And then that will finish off the back side. I did go over the edges of it with the same vintage photo ink. And then that's pretty much going to complete the decorations on this card. I just love how simple and elegant it is. And the little silver snowflakes added a subtle shine. I think it ended up super cute. I am also going to add a couple of the clay snowflakes. I'll add one to the center of the large snowflake and then a few clustered around the silver snowflakes. And then you can also add a sentiment back there if you'd want, but like I said, I had that Let It Snow hiding behind the door. I am going to add my double-sided tape to the 1/2-inch tabs on each of these panels. And I think here is a good, you can see the ink blending that we did at the beginning. It just added that cookie look to the house, which I really like. right, so I'm going to remove the double-sided tape on that. On one of the panels, line it up to create one long strip. And then I will reinforce those score lines and then meet each end together to create that box shape. And then I'm going to add my connector piece inside. So again, I have one triangle facing towards me, one facing away from me. I'm going to add my double-sided tape to each of those triangles and then line it up inside my base with the points on the pitch of the roof line with the points of the triangles on the connector. And then I will add my double-sided tape to that 1/2 inch tab at the top. We'll also add some glue, flip it upside down, and line it up with my roof. This time it doesn't matter because both sides are the same. There's not a bakery on this one. I will fold down the scalloped edge. There is a 1/2 inch score line on each side so that it looks more like an overhang. So that's what I'm doing here. I'll make sure it's nice and flat and adhered well. And then here you can see the more you fold it down, the flatter it's going to lay on the base. So here's the final card. I just think it turned out so sweet. So I'm going to display it like this, and then you can open it to reveal the sentiment. And then if you cut through the windows using the shadow dies included in the add-on, you can light this card up and maybe add vellum behind the windows. I think that would be really pretty, but I wanted to keep this super simple. I did add my mechanism to the bottom of this one, so it will also pop out of the envelope. And then here are both cards side by side. Let me know which one you like better. I love the colorful one, but for some reason that white one is my favorite. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye.